Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to our witnesses, and congratulations on your nominations. And also let me welcome your family members. I think one of the requirements in this White House is that children have to be adorable and well-behaved, and so far so good. Mr. Mooring, you are nominated to be the Inspector General of the Department of Defense. This position is among the most consequential oversight roles in our government. The American people rely on the IG to guard against waste, fraud, and abuse, and to hold accountable those who misuse the enormous power and resources of the Pentagon. But I must be direct. You have been nominated by a president who has shown outright hostility to the role of Inspector General. In his first week in office, President Trump fired your predecessor, along with every other Inspector General in the federal government. Not because of poor performance, but because they did their jobs, in fact, too well. He has repeatedly demanded political loyalty from those who must be dedicated to the Constitution and laws, not to an individual. Equally troubling is the broader record of the administration. President Trump has consistently shown a willingness to bend or ignore the law when it suits him and has shown hostility to independent oversight. Mr. Mooring, you have led a long and distinguished career as a staff judge, advocate, and military lawyer, and I trust you understand this fraught situation. I would ask you to share your view of the importance of the Inspector General, independence, and whether you pledge to execute the duties of this office independently and professionally. Ms. Davies, you are nominated to be the Department's Chief Information Officer, the principal advisor on information technology and national security systems. If confirmed, you will face several severe challenges. First, the Software Fast Track initiative requires a 90-day framework to modernize outdated procurement systems that are slow and opaque. You will need to drive this initiative and additional reform across acquisition, research, and intelligence while safeguarding supply chains. At the same time, the Department of Defense has struggled for years to hire IT professionals to work in software development, cybersecurity, operations, and acquisition. This challenge has been compounded by the widespread workforce cuts and contract cancellations. These actions risk slowing modernization rather than accelerating it. And Ms. Davies, I would ask how you plan to address each of these complex issues. Mr. Maisel, you are nominated to be Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. If confirmed, you will oversee investments in modernization priorities such as artificial intelligence, quantum computing, hypersonics, biotechnology, and microelectronics. Maintaining our lead over China and Russia in these fields requires addressing several challenges. You must advocate for modernization while balancing near-term readiness, requiring close coordination with Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment and the military services. Equally important, you will need to overcome the department's so-called valley of death, ensuring research innovations become operational capabilities. This means strengthening ties between research activities and service acquisition programs and investing in the people and infrastructure of DARPA, the defense labs, and test ranges. Mr. Maisel, I hope you will share your views on these responsibilities at this pivotal moment. Finally, Mr. Anderson, you are nominated to be Assistant Secretary of Defense for Special Operations and Low-Intensity Conflict. If confirmed, there are several urgent issues you will need to address. To begin, the law requires timely and substantive notification to Congress of sensitive military operations and access to executive orders. Under President Trump, these obligations have been routinely ignored. This regard undermines oversight and erodes trust. In particular, the administration's recent strikes on vessels in the Caribbean represent, in my view, a blatant violation of international and domestic law. In February, the White House designated 24 cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This designation, however, does not grant new authorities for military targeting. Given the large number of U.S. military assets that have been deployed to the Caribbean, it is clear that the administration intends to continue such operations. But skirting the law and denying transparency for the American people risk a dangerous escalation with international ramifications. Mr. Anderson, if confirmed, you will be at the center of this situation, and it will be your responsibility to ensure the law is followed. I would ask for your views on the operations in the Caribbean and request your commitment to follow the law no matter how uncomfortable that position may become. Again, to all the nominees, thank you. I look forward to your testimonies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.